The ancient secret to perfect parenting. Are you exhausted from the endless war between helicopter parents and free-range parents, tired of being told you're either too strict or too lenient? What if I told you that a man who lived over 2,000 years ago already solved this modern parenting crisis, and his solution is so simple yet so profound that it will completely revolutionize how you raise your children? Stay with me, because what you're about to discover will shatter everything you think you know about good parenting. The modern parenting apocalypse. Let me paint you a picture of modern parenting. On one side, we have the helicopter parents, hovering, micromanaging, scheduling every second of their child's life. These parents believe that constant intervention, protection, and control will produce successful children. Sound familiar? On the other side, we have the permissive parents, the ones who believe children should be free to make their own choices, learn from natural consequences, and never experience the trauma of boundaries or discipline. The shocking truth. But here's the truth that nobody wants to admit. Both approaches are creating a generation of anxious, unprepared, and emotionally unstable children. The helicopter kids? They can't make decisions. They crumble under pressure, and they have no resilience. The free-range kids? They lack structure, struggle with authority, and often feel abandoned by parents who confused neglect with freedom. This isn't an accident. This is the inevitable result of living in extremes. Ancient solution revealed. Now here's where it gets interesting. Over 2,300 years ago, a brilliant Greek philosopher named Aristotle was watching the same human drama play out in ancient Athens, parents swinging between harsh authoritarianism and complete permissiveness. Sound familiar? But Aristotle discovered something that modern parenting experts have completely missed. He called it the golden mean, and it's about to change everything you think you know about raising children. The golden mean explained. Are you ready for this revelation? Aristotle observed that every virtue exists between two extremes, two vices. Courage, for example, sits between cowardice and recklessness. Generosity exists between stinginess and wasteful spending. And here's the kicker. Great parenting exists between neglect and suffocation. But wait, there's a deeper layer to this ancient wisdom that will transform your entire approach to raising children. The parenting industrial complex. Here's what the parenting industrial complex doesn't want you to know. They profit from your confusion. They sell you books about gentle parenting, then books about tough love. They create anxiety about being too soft, then guilt about being too hard. They keep you swinging between extremes because confused parents buy more products. But Aristotle's approach is different. He understood that the answer isn't found in choosing sides. It's found in transcending the entire false choice. Fear-based parenting. Think about it. When you're constantly worried about being too strict or too lenient, you're not actually parenting. You're just reacting to fear. Fear of damaging your child. Fear of raising a spoiled brat. Fear of being judged by other parents. True balance defined. Now, before you think this is just about finding balance, stop right there. This isn't the wishy-washy feel-good balance that modern self-help gurus preach. Aristotle's golden mean is far more sophisticated and powerful than that. The golden mean isn't about being moderate in everything. It's about being excellent in everything by finding the precise point of virtue between two forms of failure. Practical example. The party. Let me give you a real example that will make this crystal clear. When your teenager wants to go to a party, the authoritarian parent says, Absolutely not. Parties are dangerous. The permissive parent says, sure, have fun, make good choices. Both are wrong. The Aristotelian parent asks, what does courage look like in this situation? Not the cowardice of hiding from all risk, not the recklessness of ignoring all danger, but the courage of preparing your child to navigate real-world challenges while maintaining appropriate safeguards. The courageous response. This might mean, you can go to the party. Here's how you'll get home safely. Here's what to do if things go wrong. Here are the consequences if you violate our agreement. And here's why I trust you to make good decisions. See the difference? You're not choosing between strict and lenient. You're choosing excellence. Dynamic wisdom. But here's where Aristotle's genius really shines, and this might be the most important thing you hear today. The golden mean isn't a fixed point. It's dynamic. It changes based on the situation, the child, and the moment. What does this mean practically? It means that perfect parenting isn't about following rules. It's about developing wisdom. The wisdom to know when your sensitive child needs more support and when they need to be pushed. The wisdom to know when your strong-willed child needs firm boundaries and when they need freedom to learn from consequences. Daily practice. Examples. Every moment with your child becomes an opportunity to practice finding the golden mean. Not the mean between what other parents do, but the mean between the extremes of vice. When your child is struggling with homework, you practice finding the mean between rescuing them, removing all challenge, and abandoning them, providing no support. The virtuous response might be sitting nearby, available for help, but letting them struggle productively. Daily practice. Examples. Every moment with your child becomes an opportunity to practice finding the golden mean. Not the mean between what other parents do, but the mean between the extremes of vice. When your child is struggling with homework, you practice finding the mean between rescuing them, removing all challenge, and abandoning them, providing no support. The virtuous response might be sitting nearby, available for help, but letting them struggle productively. Consequences with connection. When your child makes a mistake, you practice finding the mean between harsh punishment, which teaches fear, and no consequences, which teaches nothing. The virtuous response addresses the behavior while preserving the relationship and the learning opportunity. Child development truth. Now here's something that will absolutely shock you about child development, and it proves why Aristotle's approach is so powerful. Children don't actually want unlimited freedom, and they don't want rigid control. What they crave, what their developing brains are literally wired to seek, is predictable structure with appropriate flexibility. They want to know the boundaries so they can safely explore within them. Neuroscience validation. This isn't modern psychology, this is ancient wisdom validated by modern neuroscience. When you parent from the golden mean, you're not just raising well-behaved children, you're literally shaping their neural pathways to handle uncertainty, make good decisions, and maintain emotional regulation under pressure. Screen time. How this ancient wisdom solves modern parenting dilemmas. Screen time. Instead of either banning all screens or allowing unlimited access, the golden mean asks, what does digital wisdom look like for this child at this stage? Maybe it's co-viewing educational content, teaching them to self-regulate and gradually increasing responsibility as they show good judgment. Independence and discipline. Independence. Instead of either micromanaging or complete hands-off, you gradually calibrate freedom with demonstrated responsibility. A 10-year-old might walk to the corner store, but not across town. A 16-year-old might have a car, but with clear agreements about its use. Discipline. Instead of either harsh punishment or no consequences, you respond to each situation seeking the response that best serves your child's development. Confident parenting. But here's the most liberating truth of all. When you understand the golden mean, you stop second-guessing yourself constantly. You stop asking, am I being too hard or too soft? And start asking, what does wisdom look like in this moment? You stop comparing yourself to other parents because you understand that their golden mean might be different from yours based on their child, their situation, their values. Eliminating anxiety. And here's why this ancient approach eliminates parenting anxiety. Most parenting stress comes from trying to choose between bad options. Should I rescue my child or let them struggle? Should I be their friend or their authority figure? Should I protect them or prepare them? These are false choices. The golden mean reveals a third option, the virtuous option that transcends the extremes. Practical wisdom in action. When your child is being bullied, you don't choose between solve it for them or tell them to handle it themselves. You help them develop the skills, confidence, and strategies to handle it while staying involved enough to ensure their safety. When your teenager is making poor choices, you don't choose between control everything or let them learn the hard way. You maintain connection while allowing appropriate consequences, offering guidance while respecting their growing autonomy. The promise and transformation. Once you truly understand this ancient wisdom, everything changes. You realize that parenting isn't about following the latest trend or avoiding the latest parenting sin. It's about developing practical wisdom, what Aristotle called phronesis, the ability to discern the right action in each unique situation. You stop asking what would a good parent do and start asking what would wisdom do here. You stop worrying about being judged by other parents because you understand that their extremes are actually evidence of their confusion, not their superiority. You start trusting yourself because you have a framework that actually works, not rules to follow, but wisdom to develop.